Hello everyone, my name is Kate Marshall. The name of my channel is called Inked Paper Art, and I'm doing a project called 365 Days of Junk Journal Ideas, where every morning I make a short 15-minute video detailing another trick, tip, or technique, an ephemera piece we can make for our junk journals, decorating journals, making the whole journal itself from scratch. So every morning I release a new video, and if you would like to see all 365 videos, with a different idea every day, please consider subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so that YouTube sends you notifications of the videos. So today's project is called Pretty Double Journaling Cards. We're going to make these double journaling cards. These are ephemera pieces that you can tuck in pockets in your junk journal. They're also good ideas for making little gift things for happy mails or, just to give to a friend. They're really cute. You could tailor this to make it into a greeting card instead of a junk journal card. Anyway, let's get started. We've got some supplies here. I've got some rag paper book pages. I've got some antique handwritten document, very fancy calligraphy on these two. This is French. This is one from Spain. I've got some music paper. These are all just scraps that I'm using over here. I also have some coffee dyed cardstock. This is just regular coffee dyed white cardstock. So let's go ahead and get started cutting our base. I've used a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock that I copy dyed. You could use any size cardstock. What I'm going to cut it down to is about a 6 by 8 inch size. So I'm going to go ahead and cut one of these at a time. We'll make a couple of these today. So I'm going to go ahead and cut at 6 inches across on the first cut. And then from here, I'm going to cut at 8 inches. So let me get this arm extended. And then I'm going to cut it 8 inches. So if you're using a regular piece of cardstock that's 8.5 by 11, it's still 6 by 8 inches. That's what size I cut it to. And then I've got this left over. I'll set that to the side. I'm going to go ahead and cut a couple more because we're going to make several, like I said. So I'm going to cut again at 8 inches. Now I've got two, and I'm going to go for one more. So I'm going to cut the first cut at 6 inches because I'm using a 12 by 12, and then 8 inches. So I cut down all my bases. This is kind of a mass make. Maybe I'll even make four. Well, we don't know. In 15 minutes, we'll see. Okay, so there's all my cutting. I don't need to do any more cutting after that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold these. Now you can just roll it over and fold it. If your cardstock is too thick, you may want to do a score line and then fold it. I'm just going to fold them like that. And I don't really care which side is, facing out or facing in at this point. I know I want to make 3, so I'm just going to start with 3. I'm going to set this one to the side. It's going to start with 3. The next thing that I want to do is just kind of crease them. If you have your bone folder, use your bone folder. If you don't have your bone folder, use the back handle of your scissors. It works great that way too. So I've got 3 bases here. The next thing I want to do is open all of those up. I wanted to put that crease line in before I moved any further. If you used a scoring tool, you wouldn't have to, do the whole creasing thing. You would just have a score line put in them. Next, I'm going to go ahead and cover these up with my decorative papers. These could be digitals. It could be anything that you wanted it to be. I'm just using scraps of music paper and handwritten paper. So I'm going to take my card that I've scored in half, and I'm going to cover it completely with glue stick from edge to edge all the way around. And this is just gluing down that base layer of decorative paper, whatever you chose. You could use, like I said, like a printed floral digital. You could use scrapbooking paper. You could use magazine page or book page, whatever you want to use. And I'm just going to glue this on there. I don't really care about, what I'm getting, other than I would prefer if I didn't get much of the border. I don't mind some border, but I would prefer if I didn't get a bunch. So there, that looks pretty good. And I'm going to set that aside to dry while I work on a couple more. So then next I've got, let me get a piece of scrap paper out. We'll use that for scrap paper. And I'm going to glue this one up. And so we're just going to make several of these pretty double journal cards all the way start to finish today. I hope you guys are having a great day. It's Wednesday for you guys, and so it's middle of the week. So there's that one all glued up. Let me move my glue paper out of the way, and we'll glue this one on this handwritten paper. And so I'm going to go right about here with it. And so I'm gluing it to where my good side is down. There we go. And that one can dry, and we'll glue up this one. I'm using the Oohoo glue stick today. You guys know that is my favorite. It's permanent and I don't have any problems with it. It sticks for many years, if not permanently, like it says. And I'm in Arizona, and it gets pretty warm here. So it is kind of hard to find a glue stick that will work consistently for me. And so this piece I know is going to be a little bit small, and that's okay. Let me just kind of pick which side I like better. I think I like this side better. So I'm going to go here, and then I'm just going to try to position myself as best as I can. And it is a little small, and that's okay. So what I'm going to do is position it to where I have a little bit of space at the top. And there we go. That's on there. And like I said, I'm just using scraps. So you can see I have that open little bit at the top right there. I'll just fill it in with some book page. And so I'm going to find some book page to fill in there. That looks pretty good. So I'm just going to rough tear it across. And that's perfect. And we'll fill in with that in just a second. Let me go ahead and get my glue moved down over my paper a little bit, because I do want to glue over the whole thing. And so I'm just going to piece in. And so from here, I'll just add my glue down a little further without that big chunk. And then right here, I don't need quite that much. And we're just going to fill in that area. It really doesn't matter at this point. You're just putting a base layer of decoration down. And I'm going to tear that at a little bit different of an angle and fill in right there. And that's perfect. Okay, so I'm going to set that one to dry. So even if your paper is too short, it still works. And so now we've got this guy, and I'm just going to rub out some little air bubbles that are stuck there. And I'm going to trim around these. So I've got some overhanging paper, and I'm just going to take my scissors and follow around the edge of my journal cards. These are so pretty when they're done. I love putting these in journals, but it's often something that I just forget to make. So another great thing about these videos is it reminds us all of the projects that, you know, maybe you saw it before, maybe you haven't, but maybe you have. And, you know, these little videos that I do in the morning, they just remind us all of things that, you know, we kind of forget about too. And so it's a nice refresher course for some. For others, you know, they've never seen the ideas. And I know many of you guys are making journal idea books, and you're keeping an example every day of what we make. And that's awesome. I love that idea. And you guys know that on YouTube, you can save the videos to watch later. And so if you want to save this video and return to it at a later point in time, to remind yourself, that's an option too. If you look it up on Google, it'll actually tell you how to save a video for later if you don't already know. So there's these two. We're going to work on those a little bit more. We have more to do, obviously. And let's trim this one out. And so I'm just cutting all the excess paper off at this point. And around this side. And I just put the scissors against the cardstock, and the cardstock is that guide. So I don't even really have to look at it while I'm cutting it. It just, the scissors follow the cardstock, and it just cuts right around it. Okay, so we've got that all cut out. The next thing that we want to do is we want to think about our decorations. So you can see the one that I pieced together. It's actually my favorite so far. I love it. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to think about our decorations. I'm going to fold these back in half again. So I'm just going to line up the edges here. Sometimes when the cardstock has a little bit of moisture, it doesn't want to fold exactly. So I'm just going to line them back up and fold them. That's kind of why we creased them ahead of time, so that at this stage, while they were wet or, you know, whatever, they had moisture to them, they would fold a little easier. And plus the cardstock was a little thick. So that's all right. We've got them folded. See, this one doesn't want to fold either. Even with the crease lines, sometimes they'll fight you because the cardstock has moisture in it, because it has glue to one side right now. Okay, so there they are. We've got 3 little double journaling cards started. Let's go ahead and cut out some lace to add down the spines of these. So I've got some gold lace here, and I'm just going to cut 3 pieces of it to add down the spine. You can use any kind of lace that you want. And I am going to leave my lace just a little bit long. So I've measured it once, and I'm going to cut it 3 times. You know how they say measure once, cut twice? Well, I'm going to cut 3 times because I've got 3 journal cards. But so there's that one. And so I've cut it 3 little pieces there. And I'm just going to glue these laces on the spines like this, where I add my Fabri-Tac and I glue them down the spine. I'm going to pause the video while I get a couple of them done, and then I'll come back for doing the 3rd one with you guys. Okay, so I'm just going to add glue down the spine, and I've just put, you know, a little bit of Fabri-Tac on. Anytime I'm using lace, I tend to use Fabri-Tac to glue it on, and I'm just kind of making some swirlies and getting a little bit of glue. I don't want too much, just a little bit down there. Again, it's just to tack down the lace. And so the easiest way to add your lace is just kind of get it where you want it on the front half of your journal, your little journaling card. And then we're going to fold it over right on your mat like that. That's the easiest way. And then when you tap down the front, you're actually tapping down both sides so that you don't get as much glue stuck to your fingers. And so from there, you can just make sure it's all straight. So there's 3 little journaling cards started. We're going to continue to work with them. And so the next thing that we want to do is cut out some decorative pieces for the fronts of them. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I have cut out some of my scanned, copied CDVs of some pretty women. And so I've cut them out. I printed them on the laser printer, cut them out. I've inked around them, and I'm gluing them down just to frame them out on some old rag paper book page. So to do that, I'm just going to glue the last one down, and I'm gluing right on the paper I'm using to frame, doesn't matter. And I'm just going to frame it on there. I'm just using a little bit of text around the edges to kind of help frame these ladies out. And so I'm going to set this one aside to dry. We're going to work with these 2 right here. The next thing I'm going to do is cut or tear. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to try to fold in and tear with my fingers. And I'm going to tear around these ladies. A little rougher edge is fine with me. I don't want them to be too perfect. So I'm just tearing around them. There we go. I'm going to tear around all the way around, and then I'll be right back. And so now I've just cut them all out, tore them out, and inked all the way around them. And we are ready to add them to the front of our journal, our little journaling cards. And so I'm just going to kind of pick out whatever one I think looks best on this one. I think we're going to go with her. And so for these, I'm going to add a mixture of glues on them. I'm going to actually add this Boohoo glue stick to most of it. And then around the edge, I'm going to add art glitter glue. Reason being is these are the fronts of journal cards, double journal cards that will slide into a pocket. And I have found, you know, sometimes when I get a little bit too heavy-handed with layering and stuff like that, things tend to lift up, or they might lift up when I slide it into the pocket. And so I just want to get my lace over the top of the little edge here. And so there's that one. And now let's add these other two to the front. And so there is quite a bit of, layering and lace and all that kind of stuff on the front of these. And I just want to make sure that as they slide in and out of a pocket, that they don't come unglued. And so I am just adding that art glitter to the edge. And also the art glitter, you might be able to see it through whatever I've glued on here. So just adding it right there. All right, let's put her. Let's go ahead and put her on this one. I don't know. Do I want this one on here? Or do I want this one on here? I'm going to do this one. And I'm just sliding it under the edge of that lace right there. And then there's where that one goes. Perfect. One last one. And then we just have a little bit more work to do and we're done. And we'll have 3 beautiful double journal cards that are all fully decorated and ready to be used in our ephemera box. And I do have some journals coming up, so they'll probably be making an appearance in those. If you're doing our monthly journal kit for February, I'll be putting these in those journals, I'm quite certain. And so again, I'm just going to slide it underneath that lace right there. Get it under there. I like to do just slightly above center with my decoration on the front, whether this be like, I decorated this like a mini journal in all honesty. And so it's not exactly even, like this is a little bit slimmer than this. I just like to have it slightly up than, perfectly centered on there. And so from there, let's just go ahead and ink around these little double journaling cards. We'll take a peek at them. I'm running over my time just a little bit. I don't think you guys mind too terribly much, as long as the project is good, right? So I'm just going to ink around my edges quick. You could round your corners if you wanted to. I think the little inking on these specifically, because they are old, the papers on them are old, it does kind of make these new cut edges blend in. This is the old original edge. This is the new cut edge. And so if I do add that little bit of inking, it kind of blends it in. Don't forget about your center here. And then of course, this is a journal card, so people are going to open this up, and it's a double journaling card. Double just means there's 2 of them connected in the center. And so you can see there's quite a bit of journaling space in here. It's sturdy because it's made on cardstock as the base. And so let's take a peek and see what we did here. We've got 3 beautiful double journaling cards all ready to go into the pockets. You could add more embellishments. You could open these up and add little pockets inside of them with some little tags if you wanted. But for right now, they're just 3 beautiful double journaling cards. Again, I think that they are great. I love the look with the lace down the sides. I hope you guys enjoyed this project, and I hope that you will give it a try and come back again tomorrow for another day of 365 days of junk journal ideas. Bye guys. Have a good day.